Hello, so this is going to be a short video of how I did the throttle spring mod on the V85TT. Now, the reason that is I am starting to find I've got maybe a little bit of arthritis creeping into my fingers on my right hand, just where your fingers join your hand, just that first joint. What I was finding is in long journeys, after about 30 minutes, the joints would start aching and they would get progressively worse and sore as the day went on. So we're for Wicklow, the Wicklow Mountains this following weekend, and sort of wasn't really relishing the thought of the sore hand. I had spoken to a guy at a Moto Guzzi meet about a month prior to this video, and he had explained how he'd done this modification because I was chatting to him. We'd ridden about 200 miles to this meet and my hand was quite sore, and I was telling him, oh, I've sore hand and blah blah blah, one thing led to another, and he told me how he did the mod. So he did it slightly different to me, but we both had the same outcome. One other thing I would like to do and take this opportunity is I would like to, as you can see here on this clip, I clicked over onto 200 subscribers just yesterday. And I would like to thank anyone who's listening here now that is already subscribed, and I'd like to thank you for subscribing. And it's just nice to see subscribers, that people actually come back and watch your content. You're actually making something worthwhile for other people to watch, and it's just nice to see it. If anyone's now watching this and you're not subscribed, if you wouldn't mind please considering subscribing and liking this video as well, because I don't know about YouTube, but apparently liking has something to do with algorithms, and if subscribers would mind liking the videos more often, it must help, because I see everybody else asking for it. But anyhow, we'll move on to the video now and the how to, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you. Okay, so let's get stuck in. The first image here shows the three main screws that you'll be interested in. It's the two screws on the outside that you're going to be drilling, and the little screw that's to the left of the screw on the right, that's the screw that you undo to take the throttle body off when you've got the screws drilled. So we'll move on to the next clip, and one thing I found that made it easier was actually loosening the handlebars and rotating them back onto the tank. I set a towel across the tank to try and to protect the tank. This just made easier access to the screws. This next clip then, I just took I have bark busters fitted on the bike, but it's the same for standard handguards. Screw off the bar end or whatever it is. This is the screw. So I started with, you could center punch this, but I didn't have a center punch, so I started with a 1.5mm drill bit, moved up to a 2mm, and then up to a 2.5mm drill bit. I've probably drilled into a depth of around 2.5 to 3mm into the into the screw head. That then allowed me to hammer in a little T10 Torx bit, which the idea behind this was the splines on the torque bit would cut into the hole that I've just drilled, and it would help grip the screw and unscrew it. Because as you see here, as I zoom in, it's a bit of a weird screw. It seems like it'll only allow you to screw it in, but you can't screw it out. Once you have those screws drilled, you then want to locate the little screw that was to the left of the screw that I talked about on the right. I think it's a T20. You unscrew that, and that allows the throttle to slide off the handlebars. Once you get the throttle off, I found there was enough length in the cables and the heated grips that I was able to slide it off with ease. And once you get it off, you're left with this view here, and that little sticker seems to be like a security sticker, so I had to cut through it with a knife. And once I did that, the left hand side of this image, that just came off easily, well, with a little bit of jiggling, because the actual spring is wound around and into a knob that's on that side. And once I pulled it off, you could actually feel the spring unwinding, like a clock spring. There it is, that's the spring on the inside there, not the outer spring. Not quite sure what that outer spring does, but anyway, I didn't touch it. You're just concerned with the inner spring here. That's just a view of the two parts, the other part removed, and that little nub that you see opposite the leg of the spring is what was catching the spring originally, I think. So all I did then was I just drilled a 2.5mm hole into this little side flange, this little bit of plastic that was on the side, and again that allowed the spring to locate inside there. That little leg of that spring was able to fit in there. So then it's just a simple case of putting it all together. So I located the spring into this hole, and it gives about a quarter turn, I think, to get it located. So it's putting a little bit of tension on the spring, very little tension, and then just simply reverse the steps, put the handle back on the handlebars, or screw it together with the screws. I just used the same screws that I used that were originally in. I just put the T10 Torx bit back into the screw heads and screwed them back in again with a little bit of Loctite just to help hold the screws, and slid it back on the handlebars, tightened the screw again, and sorted out the handlebars and all the other things, and job was done. So I hope this was of use to someone like myself that finds the V85 throttle a little hard to hold on to on long trips, and maybe getting hand ache like I did. I hope it's of use, and with that, I'll see you in the next video. See you then. Bye bye.